We work together as a team to solve that problem. And you'd be surprised how many times that's not me solving that problem. It's the team.
Welcome to the Sales Made Simple podcast. This podcast is dedicated to helping overwhelmed outdoor living professionals, landscapers, and hardscapers just like you increase your closing rate to over 75% without doubling your workload so you can build a seven-figure business that doesn't need you. I'm your host, Joshua Gillow. Let's dig in.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Sales Made Simple podcast. Your host, Joshua Gillow. Frank Bourque is back with us from last week, and we're going to talk about one of the sexiest things that you can talk about in business. I mean, the sexiest thing. Meetings. The thing that we all love, dread, hate, whatever it might be. Meetings. And why they're important and how not to necessarily just try to avoid them because we just want to go out and build cool stuff or we just want to go out and do fun things. But meetings can be drudgery. Like nobody wants to do that stuff. And how do you structure them? Like, how do I get anything from them? Nobody wants to show up. Half of them are asleep, like all that. Like we're going to talk about meetings and how to do it in a way that is going to be able to empower your team because that's really what we want to do. When we empower a team to start thinking on their own and problem solving by themselves and feel the accountability and responsibility, the next thing you know, all of a sudden the minds come on, the ideas come up, and your blind spots are now not blind spots anymore because you have people that are watching your six. So Frank, can't wait to have this conversation. Welcome back.
Yeah, well, thanks, Josh. Glad to be back. And this topic for me represents one of the things that I ignored for the longest amount of time before I realized everything happens with meetings. And if you're not having meetings, but you have a lot of problems, there's a good chance the root of the problem is exactly right in front of you. And I've ignored it for, I won't even say how long, but I've ignored it for many years, and that was the root cause. And when I realized with my clients, when helping them and seeing them go through the process of saying, okay, there's a bit of resistance, but we'll try it. And then going through the process of seeing, well, I'm uncomfortable with this, or I don't like that, or people get bored. Well, the answer is every team goes through it because you don't go to school to learn how to do good meetings. We go to school or whatever to learn a skill, and then we want to go do it. And we just, like you said, we're just focused on the work. We do what we love. And usually what we love is what we're used to doing. And it's not necessarily, it's all the stuff that we're not comfortable with or it's different. It feels weird. Those are the things that we'll ignore first, right? Or we'll procrastinate on. But very important topic, although like you said, on the sexy side, there's a different score there. But on the how useful and how it can change your life and your business, I would say it's on the top of the list.
Yeah, 100%. Dude, I remember coming back after I've probably been in business almost 20 years and never really had meetings, only when I needed to, right? You go out and meet with the guys starting on the project, or maybe that was you or me at the time, right? And then we would all right, you meet with the customer, like those are meetings. Yeah, but never with the team or, if they had a problem, the guy ran the compactor off the edge of the wall. Now it's in the pond and you're like, oh, great. Now we got to pull that thing out, get the machine. Like those kind of meetings are things that you're reacting to, but to be proactive and have a cadence of meetings and saying, okay, once a week we do this meeting. Maybe that's everybody inside the office. We get together and have meetings because all we're trying to do in meetings is create alignment, right? To make sure everyone knows where the destination is because that keeps adjusting. Or maybe it doesn't, but our ideas adjust. So we're trying to bring them back into alignment so that we can use the least amount of energy to get the best result at the end. That's really what we're after, right? So much of this is alignment. So if you're out there, listeners, cringing right now, like, I'm not listening to this episode because there's no way I'm going to start having meetings in a company. I'm going to challenge you today to listen through to the end because there's a lot of value in having meetings. And I didn't realize this until I read Gino Wickman's book, Traction, and he talks about his EOS meetings. And when I saw a structure, I'm like, wait a minute here. So meetings have structure? Because often the meetings that I'd go into was just people blabbering the whole time. You had no idea why you were there or how it had anything to do with you. And you didn't know what was coming next, so expectations were never set. And they weren't effective. And I remember coming back after doing some leadership training, and they're like, "Well, this is how you lead a meeting." And I'm like, Okay, so I got my team at that time. It was one, maybe two people, and I put them at a desk and I stood up in front. I felt so uncomfortable doing that, like standing
Yeah.
up, and I had a whiteboard and I was explaining things of what we're going to do. And they were looking at me like, this isn't normal. Like, we don't normally do this.
Yeah.
And after a few weeks, it got to be much more, well, palatable for me at least, and
Yeah.
hopefully for them too. And eventually it started becoming our thing. And then we just set it up that we would meet every single week on Thursdays and we go through every project that's going on. This is inter office conversation. Every project that's going on, that we make sure we go through everything. So we have production, we have sales, we have the front line, we have everybody there, even marketing. We're all in the room and we're having a conversation about each and every project. And then we go into our what we call our EOS meeting, which is a framework that Gino Wickman coins in his book, Traction. But in that, we've made a couple of adjustments, so it's not true exactly to the book. But what we do is we break it down that we have the exact same order every single week, and we go through that, and each person is accountable for different things.
Yeah.
And this way, everybody's involved. They know when their part is coming up. They know what they have to deliver from, because my goal as an owner is to never have a list when we lead meetings. It's always to make sure it's delegated to somebody, unless it's a CEO thing that I need to do. But if it's not, everything else gets delegated to somebody who's in charge of that by a specific timeline.
Yeah.
And when we do that, when we delegate like that, and we come back to next week, and if we find that there's an issue where somebody didn't get it done on time, we don't beat them up and say, you stupid idiot, I can't believe you're incompetent. What happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more about what happened. Well, I reached out to this person for this insurance quote, and the insurance company didn't get back to me. Well, how much did you follow up? Well, I didn't. I got busy. Okay. Sounds like we need some notifications in there. We need something else, right? So we start to help them try to solve their problem so they can serve us. So I don't want to get too much on my soapbox right now about meetings because they are super important. But Frank, what are your thoughts as you coach companies around the country and, Canada and in US? Like, what do you see as far as meetings, their usefulness, and the most effective ones? What do they have in them?
Well, I think there's different types of meetings, there's different frequency, and then the trick is, well, if I say it's a trick, it's really the secret behind being effective is having those meetings on a regular basis. It's predictable, it's repeatable, and people start seeing the value in it because they get information they didn't have before. So I look at, there's different parts of the team that needs to meet to discuss specific things. So to me, there's some daily meetings that need to happen. There's some weekly meetings that need to happen, monthly and then quarterly, for sure, for different things. We'll get on it. And then there's the whole yearly review. So, but for me, the weekly stuff or the daily stuff, if we break it down, every day people will leave together as a crew, a few in a truck, and it's really a missed opportunity if it's always just one person that has the information. Because what happens, it just teaches the crew that there's one person who has the information. They have to wait until they get the information to do what they need to do. But if the information is shared from the start of the project every day, and we talk about what needs to get done, how it's going to get done, things to watch out for that could slow us down, or things that we need to keep in mind. And then how do we know what success looks like? And also, for the crew has to discuss what does done look like? Like when we're done, what does that look like to be successful in our eyes and the eyes of the client? So if you're a crew leader, and every day, and I hear crews say, hey, we have one huddle a day in the morning, and then sometimes in the afternoon, I'll plan out and I'll start ordering stuff for the next day. That's great. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But the most efficient crews I meet, they don't see team meetings or even call it team meetings. They'll just say, hey, we're going to have a huddle. We have one in the morning, midday, and the afternoon to make sure that we're ready for the next day. And the ones that have the most organized, I would say, to the point meetings, they don't have to be more than 5 minutes each, but they have to be very specific. Hey, what do we need to do? What does that look like? And if there's any issues, what are we doing about it? And how can we get where we want to get to the next part of the day? Like it's as simple as that. And in the afternoon, what do we need for tomorrow morning that needs to be ordered right now to get it done? So for me, those huddles, they not only help the team feel part of it, but they start understanding how the foreman thinks. So if we're looking to teach other people how to think more like a team leader, here's the process. In the morning, midday, afternoon, I think about these things. And by you guys knowing about it, knowing where you need to be, we don't have to guess, and you start learning by repetition, right? So the team learns just by doing it every day. So that's the team meeting. They work together every day. They should meet every day. That's the bare minimum. The weekly meetings are on a higher level. Team leaders need to plan ahead. So like you said, you can be proactive or wait until a problem comes up and then you meet. But the best way in my mind is the week before. You should be ready almost a week ahead. And I know there's a lot of factors in landscaping. There's weather, there's materials, there's all these things. But that's where it becomes very important, is to say, well, I don't have these answers yet for next week, but I need to find out, because I need to start getting things lined up so that everyone can have what they need next week. And a good team leader should think a week ahead of what's coming up, and to be able to share that with the team and ask the team what is required from them in order for that to happen, if that's the case.
Yep.
So to me, that's for the weekly meeting. The weekly meetings are alignment within the leadership team. The monthly meetings are a reset. It's like, okay, looking back, have we hit our goals? 1 week is not enough to say if you're winning or losing. I mean, it's a few weeks together creates a pattern, and is the pattern in the right direction? And if it's not, what can we do so we don't repeat that pattern next month? Mm-hmm. And then that also allows the team to learn from some mistakes and to correct. It's hard to do after 1 week, but after a month, you can see where you tends to be and where we can help the team. And then on a quarterly basis, I like to use the quarterly meetings it's not only a reset, it's also an assessment of, based on what we projected, did we hit that goal? Because the best predictor of future behaviors or future results is past behaviors or past results. So if the last 90 days have been up and down, but we've managed to come out of it in a positive way, great. We're in the right direction. Let's keep the momentum going. If not, there's a correction needed, and we can't really wait another 90 days. That's half of a year. And we've wasted 2 quarters at the most important probably in the landscape industry. So it's very important to correct as fast as possible, but sometimes those opportunities for those meetings is really the key, is to put it on the schedule and have those meetings, treat those meetings like as if it was your most important sales meeting of the month or the week or the quarter, because it'll teach you more about your business, and your people will learn from it more than anything else.
Yeah. And there's nothing worse than going at something really hard, like working projects and working with clients and battling the weather and logistics and the ground and equipment and employees, to do that for an entire year.
Yeah.
All at the end of the year to look at your books and see that you're in the red. And you're like, I lost money this year after all of that because we just had our head down grinding. And I say that, listeners, because that's exactly how I used to do it.
Yeah.
I used to go out there and I was like, look, spring is here. It's busy, 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 busy. And busy used to equal success to me. So I'm like, oh, we're busy. We're successful. Go. The money will just follow. That's no big deal. And then by the end of the year, I'd look at it and it'd be like, oh my goodness, like we did all of that pain, all that stress, all that overwhelm, all of those sleepless nights, all of those missed opportunities with my family, all the times I had to say no to good things, all to end up with nothing. Actually, worse than that. I'm worse off at the end of the year than when I started the year, and never looking up because I was afraid. Here's where it is, Frank. I was afraid to face the truth. I was afraid to look at the numbers. I was afraid to face what could be, because I knew some months were higher, some months were lower. I set a budget in the beginning of the year and I would forget about it because I was afraid. Because if I looked at those numbers and I was lower, what was I going to do about it? And if I was higher, great. I didn't really have much of an effect on that anyway. I just keep working at the same pace regardless. So what's the point? But what I've realized over the time, the wisdom as I get older and God pours more into me, thank goodness for that, is that when we look at those hard truths consistently, we can now finally affect some of the differences in where we're going. Like it's like putting a blindfold on, pointing your car west and hoping like heck you're going to hit San Francisco from New York. Like what's the chance?
Yeah.
The chance is not good, not good at all, but that's how we run our businesses. That's how I ran them for years. I see guys do it all the time that way.
Yeah.
And now it's like, no, we have this thing called the GPS, right? And what does the GPS do? You say, I'm in New York. I want to get to San Francisco. You put it in and it shows you a path. All right, good. We have a way. It tells you it's going to take X amount of hours to get there. But along the way, what happens, Frank? There's a rock slide. There's an accident. There's a this. There's a that. It reroutes you around things, but you have to be aware. You can't just put the blindfold on and just head west. You're going to hit things, right?
No.
So it's the same thing when it comes to meeting. This is our opportunity to check in daily with your group, because what you said earlier, defining success is the key to any meeting. It's defining what's our outcomes we want for this meeting. What does success look like? Is it simply for us to come together and sing kumbaya, or just talk about projects, or is it to actually solve a problem? And what is that problem that we're solving for? We have a section of our meetings that we call fires. So what kind of fires do we got going on in the company?
Yeah.
Right? What kind of project fires, client fires, what kind of internal, we have a fires section. So that's what we do. Everything fires wise goes in that bucket. When we get to that part of the meeting, we fire into it. What do we got to work on? And we work together as a team to solve that problem. And you'd be surprised how many times that's not me solving that problem. It's the team. They're like, that's a good idea. Go with that. That's better than I was thinking. It's going on in my head, right? So it's structuring things like that and being courageous and taking the time with your team to face those things that you don't want to face or that you don't know how to face yet, right? To really do that. Because when you have alignment, when you define success and you do it in incremental, day by day, week by week, month by month, quarter by quarter, year by year basis, you can get somewhere.
Yeah.
But when you shut your eyes and put your head in the sand and just keep pounding along and you get to the end of the year and you're like, really? All that for what? What did we do it all for? That's where regret and pain comes in. Then you do that, 20 years. Like a lot of people say, I got 20 years experience in business. I'm like, well, realistically, you have 1 year experience multiplied 20 times, right? Because we just get down into, because we love to build stuff. We just forget about the rest of the thing or we being profitable. Yeah, we got more money than we started the year. That's great until you don't, until you pay taxes and you pay everything else off. Then you're like, what is going on here? Yeah. Why does this keep happening over and over? It's because we aren't taking stops to assess where we are and recalibrate and realign with our goals, whatever that might be. We have to do that. And when we do that, we become much more proactive and not reactive. And now we can finally start running a business, not an expensive hobby.
Yeah. The beauty of technology now with great information, like what you're sharing this morning about meetings and the importance of it, is there's a whole new level we can reach now. I'll give you an example. So I was working with a team, we're implementing AI. Well, they had never really had a cadence or a rhythm to how often they met for their team meeting. But we set that in place and we said, it's going to pop up on your calendar every morning. The team has to do it. Then the leadership team has to meet on Mondays and so on and so forth. But the beauty now with AI is the crews on the field. We were talking about communication and meetings, but now they can just record their meetings on some AI apps that can send the information to the office automatically now. And there's some tools out there right now that are still free and that if people want to start doing team meetings, tools like Leanscaper can really organize. It's an operating system just like Traction that you can use just to structure a bit more your meetings. But there's also on the app where you can do any meetings and it can help you structure it. You can even build your own templates to help the crew just follow the same template over and over again every day. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. But the beauty of it now with AI is it's going to be able to send that off to whoever needs the information. If the AI understands who does what, the beauty of it is all the meetings we're having have a purpose. The information goes at the right place. And, last week we were just doing an example. There was a broken piece of equipment in the shop. Somebody just picked up their phone and said, hey, Lana, that's the AI, please put on the shop board that we need to fix the excavator. And so it sent the information straight to the shop board in the shop, and then the person in charge of all the maintenance could. But that's all part of our meetings. We know what's going on. It goes somewhere. Everyone can see if it's being moved forward or if what we need to be doing. Someone's in charge. Someone is responsible for the outcome. And I think it helps with accountability and overall just good communication, just to go where we want to go, and to use the best possible way to get there is just to meet, discuss, get to the point, know
That's
what
right.
you have to do.
Yeah, 100%. Because as humans, we have this innate sense that we want to continue to grow, right? Just like a tree, like we want to grow. And if we're stuck, we feel like our hands are, handcuffed. We're stuck in the mud. It really drives a lot of depression and anxiety, all of that if we feel stuck. Because deep down, progress equals happiness to humans, right? We got to feel like we're moving forward. If we're going
Yeah.
backwards, it feels like we're being somehow jaded or taken advantage of. If we're moving forward, we feel like we're growing. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's new. It's a new frontier, right? Our teams want to feel the same way. Meetings help them see what's going on and where we were to where we're going. So where are we right now and where are we heading? Because in that same, it doesn't have to be like a 5 or 10 year plan. It can be a 15 or 20-minute plan, right?
Yeah.
Give them some clarity of what's coming next, because that progress will definitely give them or alleviate some of the stress or overwhelm or anxiety or whatever it might be inside of them for not knowing what's happening, because clarity brings confidence. So if we can
Yeah.
do that, if we understand that progress is truly the need for growth is part of the human condition, that we want to grow. We're wired that way. But we have to get down to one primary question when we get our teams involved inside of meetings, because if they don't understand why they're not going to want to participate. But if they understand that they are essential to the company moving forward, every single one of them is essential. We have to answer one question. The question is, and it's a human question, we all ask it all the time. And listeners, if you don't think so, just become aware of this question and you'll see you ask it multiple times a day. The question is, what's in it for me? It's a primary question. So when you make a decision about anything, even getting on this podcast, Frank, like getting on this podcast, I'd have to think, what's in it for me to bring Frank on this podcast? I'm like, I want to share. For me, the answer is I want to share his knowledge with our listeners. I know he's full of knowledge. He has years and years of experience. And I know that we're going to bring some nuggets out that are going to change some lives. So what's in it for me to trade
Mm.
my time, this half hour together, to
Yeah.
bring you here when I could be doing a lot of other things? It's
Yeah.
because what's in it for me is that I get the opportunity for you to share and for the listeners to gain value. That's where my
Mhm.
heart's at. So
Yeah.
for you, what was your reason for coming on the podcast? To answer that question, what's in it for me? Why trade 30 minutes of your time for this podcast when I know you've got a lot of other things too?
My message is to get out there as much as I can. While your platform it's speaking to people who oftentimes need to hear different nuggets here and there that I'm just
Mhm.
passing along from what I've learned, but it's the right people. It's the people that I want to connect with, and it's another opportunity. It's a win for
Yep.
me to connect with as many people as I can in this
Yep.
industry who have the same goals that we do, is to grow and to learn. So
Exactly. Answering that question for you when the opportunity came up to come on a podcast, the one question, say, okay, good. What's in it for me?
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
We all do it. And just like
yeah,
this morning, when any of you listeners out there, when you went to figure out what you're going to have for breakfast, someone I'm sure said, I want a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich or a bagel, whatever it is, right?
yeah,
What's in it for me? I love the taste of it. It's amazing. It's on my way. I don't have to cook at home. I can get to the job site faster. What's in it for me? Convenience,
yeah,
taste, right? So we're always solving for that primary question. Our customers are the same thing. Like, why would I choose company A over company B? What's in it for me?
yeah,
Why choose Italian over Spanish dinner tonight? Like, why choose Mac over Windows? It's all about what's in it for me at the end of the day. That's what we're all solving for. So as we become more aware of that, we have to think about that from our perspective of our team members as well. For them to sit through a meeting and be like, oh my goodness, they're just twiddling their thumbs, playing on their phones, just piecing out. Like, I don't know why they're here. We have to be very clear on why we're doing it. When they can see why they're important in this meeting, why they're there, and what our goals are, and if they each have their own accountability within it, all of a sudden they start bringing better and better ideas to the table, because they know, you know what? This isn't just about the boss talking at me. This is about us working as a team to solve big problems. And those problems matter. They're meaningful. And as long as I can answer that question, what's in it for me as a team member, they're going to show up ready to go. But if they can't, it's our job as leaders to make sure we help them with that clarity
yeah,
and remind them of the mission and why we're doing this, and the clients and the families that we get to impact their lives, and they get to live better lives because of the outdoor living spaces we build for them, and how they feel more successful, and how they have those family moments that we all thrive for, like we all want. So having that clarity of why we're doing all this and serving our customers at the highest level and being um, the best possible outdoor living choice they possibly have,
yeah,
it's like that lights teams up when they can feel a mission and a purpose, and they can answer that question, what's in it for me? Why am I here? Why are you choosing me? Why can't I do something else?
Yeah.
It's such a powerful primary question that we have subconsciously in our minds. And when we can focus in on that and see
Yeah.
it from the perspective of our teams, things change.
This year, I heard a speaker on stage say, clarity is kindness. And it
Mm,
really hit home because he was saying, it's the best gift you can give to your team. Imagine if they're clear on their career path with you. Imagine if
mm,
they're clear on their roles and responsibilities with you. Imagine if they're clear on how to reach their goals so that they can stay happy working for you. Because when they hit their goals, they hit what probably their income goal, they hit different things that they just want to be able to say they've accomplished, or just having that sense of accomplishment, also being creative, not just being told what to do, and being able to offer a different part of different skill level, being able to do things that they didn't even think they could do with you because of you. I think it's clarity is just, it's a general word, but when you start digging into what that means, it's a pretty powerful thing to have as a company, to be clear.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
when in doubt, think of, clarity as being the best gift you can give, and then asking yourself, how do I get there? First thing is
yeah,
you have to meet and discuss those things. So yeah.
yeah. I love that. Clarity is definitely kindness, because the clearer you can be, the more people around you know what to do, what not to do, and you can
Yeah.
align on that. And next thing you know, you're not wasting time. Nobody likes to waste time. And it's not just the time part; it's the energy.
Yeah.
Spending days and days to put together a report that gets thrown in the garbage. You're like, what? Why did I do all of that? And they get
Yeah.
pissed off. And like, I didn't know what I even asked you to do. Like, I thought that's what you're supposed to do. And so, clarity, your clarity first as the leader, is very important. But then also being very clear with your teammates to make sure that they have clarity on what they're doing and what their roles are, and that they're important. That is huge.
Yeah.
And you can take meetings all the way down to like your 6-month or yearly evaluations of each team member. You have to remember, each one of those people show up every day, and they, again, trade. They trade their time for money. They trade their time for other things. And you're like, well, is that trade every day? They choose to do that every day. Just like a marriage, it's a choice every day to choose that person. This is a job. Every day they choose that career to work with you. And employees don't typically quit jobs, they quit bosses, right? The ones that stop caring, or at least consider the way they feel a bit, they actually care, right? So having 6-month or yearly evaluations where you spend an hour or two with a person,
Yeah.
asking them questions like, is this really what you want to continue to keep doing? Are you really happy here? If not, what can I do better as a leader? What are things that I can do better? Do you still feel like what you're getting paid is in alignment with what you're offering? Like, having those deep conversations with your people is important, because you know what? That doesn't just say, "Hey, I care because I asked you 5 questions." They feel that you actually get to connect with them as humans.
Yeah.
And they're much more likely to stick around and to be part of the mission when they feel like they're seen, understood, heard, and appreciated. It's not just, they're not just animals out there pumping out projects for you so you can make money and live in your big house with your fancy trucks and I can go home to my little apartment. Like, when they feel like they're part of the family, because
Mm.
they are, and you take your time as an owner to prioritize that and ask them those deeper questions. Are you truly still happy here? Is there anything that you do that you just every day dread?
Yeah.
Let's get that on a list. Let's see if we can get that off your plate.
Yeah.
Are you still in alignment with your gifts? Are you really doing what lights you up? If not, what are some things that you don't want to do? And
Yeah.
actually caring as an owner, not be like putting your head in the sand saying, oh crap, if I ask them that question, they're going to say A, B, and C, and I don't have anybody to fill that role, so we have to deal with it. Sometimes it's not even about solving the problem for them. It's understanding and appreciating their perspective, and
Mhm.
understanding that maybe they don't like sales, for instance, but they love the design. So you're like, okay, how can we get this person more in the design bucket and less in the sales bucket over time? And if they know that's happening, do you think they care, that they feel that you care less or more about them?
Yeah. Ultimately, the more you do this, the more you help everyone get closer to where they're looking to be anyways.
Mm,
And the only way to really get there is, like you mentioned throughout the episode, throughout this episode, is just to really focus on having those discussions, and to making it a
yeah,
place where people can have those discussions,
yeah,
and having that spirit of like continuous improvement. Hey, if we don't have a solution today, let's put it on that board so we can move it forward, not forget about it, because it is important. If it is important to you, it is important to everyone here
yeah,
that we
yeah,
find an answer to that.
absolutely. So listeners, I know today was probably one of the sexiest episodes we've ever done. And, when it comes to meetings, but I encourage you, and for the guys and the women here that stuck through the entire episode, I encourage you to consider how meetings could be added or improved within your organization more purposefully. If you haven't read the book Traction by Gino Wickman, I highly recommend that. They talk a lot about meeting structure in there and how to do that, how to get employee buy-in, all those kinds of things, because it is important as you come together. Just like you wouldn't see a team go out in a sports field and be like they just kind of showed up, pulled up, put on their jerseys, went out and played. Like, no, they practice all the time, and then they have huddles, they have meetings, they have the coach comes in, they talk about it, they get their minds right. Like, this is all not just because it's on TV. This is how the human mind works, and if we're ignoring that, if we're simply trying to do the fastest thing possible to get to the next check, we're ignoring a massive opportunity to empower a team to be more efficient, more proactive, and also more profitable over time so that everybody can win.
Yeah.
Everybody can win from that. And the more you get buy-in from your team, the smoother everything runs. So, Frank, I appreciate you coming back on. How can people find you if they want to reach out and figure out how they can set meetings up in their company?
Thanks for asking. Simplest way is frankbourque.com, my website, and they can book a time with me if they're looking for a discovery call or wanting some resources, connecting somehow. Best place to find me.
Awesome. Well, Frank, I appreciate you. Thank you for the conversations, listeners. We'll chat next week.
Thanks, Joshua.